UPSC Main 2002, file number 3, solved papers, paper 1. Time allowed 3 hours, maximum marks 300. Candidate should attempt all questions strictly in accordance with the instruction given under each question. Question 1. Answer any one of the following, about 250 words. What was the Butler Committee report? Discuss the reactions on the report in India. Important points for answer. Butler Committee report, main recommendations, reactions in India. Answer. The relations between Indian princes and the crown were not well defined because the extent of sovereignty of the paramount power were not yet settled properly. To investigate and clarify the relationship between the paramount power and the princes, the government appointed the Indian States Committee in 1927. This committee was popularly known as the Butler Committee, as Sir Harcourt Butler was its chairman. The committee reported paramountcy was considered as definable and adoptable according to the shifting necessities. It pointed toward usages for interpretation of treaties. Thus, paramountcy was not clearly defined. States were given immunity and were made bound by treaties with the crown. However, a limitation was imposed that states were not able to hand over power to others without prior consent of the British Indian government. The committee advised that the Viceroy, instead of the Governor General in the Council, should represent the crown in all dealings with the states. Therefore, the Viceroy was made the crown's agent in dealing with states. The committee left paramountcy undefined and thus created ambiguity. Rather, the committee had made the concept vague and let it be interpreted by usage and crown's prerogative and the implied consent of the princes. Princes were shocked by this definition of paramountcy in the report. They resorted to Constitution of All India Union to save themselves from such vague concept of paramountcy, which was certainly left undefined and favorable to the crown for interpretation. Yet they demanded a clear-cut definition of paramountcy. Nationalists were shocked that paramountcy was not automatically transferable from princes to the possible government in India. Total 266 words. B. Why did Jinnah reject the CR formula? Important points for answer. CR formula, main provisions, reasons for Jinnah's rejection. Answer. C. Rajagopalachari came with a formula to solve the constitutional crisis between the Congress and the Muslim League. Gandhi supported the formula, and on the basis of this formula, popularly known as CR formula, a talk between Gandhi and Jinnah was held in September 1944. Main provisions of the formula were Muslim League to endorse Congress's demand for independence. League was required to cooperate with Congress to form an interim government at center. Plebiscite was to be held in the northeast and northwest areas with Muslim majority to decide whether they wanted to form a new state, that is Pakistan. Joint agreement was to be made if petition was accepted for safeguarding the areas of defense, commerce, communications, etc. Only if England transferred full powers to India, the above terms could be operative. But the talk failed due to the objections of M.A. Jinnah. He called this formula a plan to cut organs of Pakistan. He regarded it a proposal to confine Muslims in their homes. Jinnah rejected the formula on the following grounds. Partition should be adopted even though England does not transfer full powers to India. He had nothing to do with independence of the Union India. He wanted that in plebiscites in northeast and northwest areas, only Muslims should vote and not the whole population. He also not accepted the common center for India and Pakistan. Even with regard to the partition, formula provided it after independence while Jinnah wanted it before independence. All these were the points why Jinnah rejected the CR formula. Total 265 words. Question 2. Answer any two of the following, about 150 words each. 2 into 15, 30. A. Trace the growth of the Indian Home Rule movement in Britain. Important points for answer. Movement in Britain. Spread and growth. Purpose. Answer. The Home Rule movement was inspired by Irish Home Rule movement. Branches of the Home Rule League were established in India and abroad to propagate Indian cause to the British people and through them assert pressure upon the British Parliament. A Home Rule League was established on 7 June 1916 in London. The Secretary General Major D. Graham Pole spread the movement in England. Its main objectives were accepted to open branches of the League in Britain, to publish materials related to Indian conditions, to organize seminars, meetings, and public procession, to make British aware of Indian situations, and thus to bring Home Rule to India. Mrs. Annie Besant, who played a vital role in an Indian Home Rule movement, was also actively involved in the movement in Britain. The spread of the Indian Home Rule movement in Britain helped Indian cause to gather support from Britishers. Dadabhai Naoroji had spent most of his life and income in England for the same cause. Total 163 words. B. Evaluate the attitudes of different political parties towards Quit India movement. Important points for answer. Quit India movement origin, reactions, opposition, support. Answer. The failure of the Cripps mission to solve the constitutional deadlock aroused discontent among Indians. Gandhi gave a call for British withdrawal and a non-violent struggle against possible Japanese invasion. This was the last biggest mass movement before independence of India. Though whole country involved in it, many leaders and political parties criticized it. The Muslim League opposed the movement and cooperated with British against the Quit India movement, calling it a conspiracy for Hindu rule. Even Communist Party did not favor Quit India movement. Congress liberals believed it was a movement before time and occasion. Hindu Mahasabha leaders did not support it. Akali Dal was also against the Quit India movement. Thus, almost all political parties were divided in their opinion and response towards the Quit India movement. However, it was also reality that except the Muslim League, no other party tried to obstruct it. People from all over India participated in the movement. Total 158 words. Review the Dickey-Bird Plan. Important points for answer. Dickey-Bird Plan, main provisions, reaction. Answer. Dickey-Bird Plan is a nickname of Mountbatten Plan, which was related to partition of and dominion status to India by the British government. This plan had a favorable feature that it proposed to transfer power immediately on the basis of dominion status. So there was no need to wait till the enforcement of the new constitution, which would involve long time and process of electing constituent assembly and preparing a draft constitution. The plan ruled out any possibility of merger of Hyderabad with Pakistan, but it provided for voting and plebiscite in the areas with Muslim majority in western frontier districts. It also accepted that provinces coming under such provisions shall have right to decide their fate. This plan prepared a base and made pre-arrangement for the freedom and partition of India. Dickey-Bird Plan was not accepted by Indian leaders, but it created a hope for and fear of partition. Total 154 words. Question 3. Write about the following, not exceeding 20 words each. 15 into 2, 30. 1. Anand Math. Answer. A famous novel written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyaya in 1882, written in the background of the Sannyasi uprising of Bengal, inspired national movement creating spirit among masses. 2. Bismillah Khan. Answer. A famous Shehnai player was awarded Bharat Ratna Award in 2001 for his contribution to Indian classical music and popularizing Shehnai. 3. Christ Evert. Answer. Chris Evert, a professional women tennis player from USA, won total 18 single Grand Slam and 3 doubles, considered former world number 1 women tennis player, recently announced her retirement from the game. 4. Chamber of Princes. Answer. A group of Indian princes formed in 1920 under the Montfort reforms in India to act as an advisory body in India and voice their opinions to and express concerns against British rule. 5. Dharma Sabha. Answer. Dharma Sabha, established in 1830 by Radhakant Dev, was aimed at the revival of ancient Hindu religion and reaction to the reformist Hindu leaders. 6. Divide et Impera. Answer. It means divide and rule. The policy first implemented by Lord Dalhousie in India and then continued till India's independence. 7. Dundee March. Answer. It was held by Gandhiji from Sabarmati Ashram to Dundee with his 78 companions on 12th March 1930. It started the civil disobedience movement by breaking the Salt Law. 8. Garry Kasparov. Answer. World number 1 chess player, many times world champion, the Russian grandmaster who won chess Oscars, is also writer, poet and activist. 9. Keshab Chandra Sen. Answer. A social and religious reformer who joined Brahmo Samaj and later established Bharatiya Brahma Samaj in 1866. He wrote Young Bengal, This Is For You. 10. Nivedita. A Scots-Irish social worker, author, teacher, disciple of Swami Vivekananda, who joined Ramakrishna Mission, also known as Bhagini Nivedita. 11. Pelé. Answer. A world-famous professional football player of Brazil who is considered all-time best football player of the world, voted in 1999 as the World Player of the Century by IFFHS. 12. Raidasa. Answer. Born in 1414 near Banaras, he was a lower caste saint of medieval age of Bhakti movement who popularized Bhakti among lower untouchable caste. 13. Satyagraha. Answer. It was a method adopted by Gandhi to get justice, first used in South Africa. Satyagraha was the main weapon through which he brought freedom to India. 14. Steffi Graf. Answer. A world-famous German women professional tennis player who won 22 Grand Slam in singles and ranked number 1 during her career. 15. Theodore Beck. Answer. He was a British educationalist who became principal of Islamic Anglo-Oriental College in Aligarh, supported and promoted Islamic communalism in India. Theodore Beck. Question 4. Answer any two of the following about 125 words each. Given account A. Given account of the tea plantations of Assam and West Bengal and state the economic significance of these plantations. Important points for answer. Tea plantation, climatic requirements, Assam and West Bengal, economic significance. Answer. Assam is the largest producer state of tea in India. Tea is produced in areas of mountains with slope where water does not get stagnated. Frequent rainfall is another requirement. Assam and West Bengal hills have such topographical features. Around 80% of areas in the triangle formed by mountain areas of these two states is under tea plantation. Dibrugarh, Shivsagar, Lakhimpur, Kamrup and Darang districts are mainly under tea plantation in Assam. In West Bengal, Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri, Kutch Bihar, etc. are main tea producing areas. Economically, tea plantations is very important in both these states as their economy, especially of Assam, largely depend upon tea crop. It provides employment to rural poor laborers. It earns India foreign currency by export of tea. Darjeeling tea sells at very high price. Total 129 words. B. Discuss the distribution of winds and rainfall over India in the summer monsoon season. Important points for answer. Summer monsoon, wind origin, distribution. Answer. During summer, difference of pressure and temperature created over the Indian landmass and the water body of Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean plays a role in deciding the distribution of wind and rainfall. Southwest monsoon wind brings rain to Indian subcontinent. Winds from the southwest dividing at the southern tip of India blow over landmass in May and June. This wind carry moisture, and when obstructed by the Western Ghats, it gives rainfall ranging from 200 to 400 centimeter. While going towards Rajasthan and Kutch, they hardly give 40 to 60 centimeter rainfall. In northeast and eastern plateau, about 150 to 300 centimeter, and in the Himalayan, about 100 to 200 centimeter rainfall come in this season. A branch of southwestern monsoon wind from east towards north bring rainfall in Tamil Nadu. Total 135 words. C. Define the concept of growth centers and evaluate its relevance in regional planning in India. Important points for answer. Growth center, provisions, relevance. Answer. Growth centers are created in backward areas selected for industrialization. Determinants to locate these growth centers are population, area, and industrial backwardness. They are provided with an assistance of rupees 25 to 30 crore for their development. Government had decided to establish such growth centers in backward areas in 1988. The plan to develop 70 growth centers was included in and implemented through the 8th 5-year plan. These were to be located at Tehsil headquarters. They were aimed to attract various industries in such centers. They were therefore equipped with infrastructural facilities like power, water, transportation, banking, communication, and so on. In regional planning, they can be used to promote growth and development based on the nature of the locality, geographical and climatic conditions. At regional level, they can generate employments, produce goods, and develop markets. Total 136 words. Question 5. Write short notes on the following, about 20 words each. 5 into 2, 10. 1. Name the main petroleum producing areas in India. Answer. Digboi and Surma Valley of Assam, Ankleshwar, Nawagam and Kalol of Gujarat, Baroni of Bihar, and Bombay High in the coast of Maharashtra. 2. Jhum cultivation, process and consequences. Answer. It is practiced for agriculture purpose over the land till it gets exhausted. Consequences are loss of fertility and environmental degradation. 3. Kaziranga National Park. Answer. Home to world's 2/3 of one-horned rhinoceros, situated in Golaghat and Nagaon districts of Assam, is the UNESCO World Heritage Site. 4. Census definition of urban places. Answer. Every place which is either a municipality or corporation or cantonment board or an area with population above 5,000, density above 400% per square kilometer, and above 75% of male working population engaged in non-agricultural activities. 5. K3 Copper Project. Answer. Hindustan Copper Limited operates K3 Copper Project, a mining cum metallurgical integrated project in K3 region of Junjunu district of Rajasthan. Question 6. Answer any one of the following about 250 words. A. The issue of a hung parliament adversely affects the stability of Indian government. Discuss the statement and point out how far changing over to the presidential form of government will be a solution to this problem. Important points for answer. Hung parliament meaning causes. Effect on stability. Presidential system. Suitability to India. Assessment. Answer. For last 1.5 decade in India, no party gains enough majority in parliament to form the government. Parties have to form alliances to form government in the situations of hung parliament. Small parties in alliances demand their interests to be satisfied. In some cases, the government falls and the country has to bear a huge burden of election expenses again. Then too, the country did not get a government of single party with absolute majority. This is the result of selfish and bargain politics, and again it leads to the same in terms of alliances. One option to hung parliament problem in India is the presidential form of government instead of parliamentary form. Reasons in favor of presidential form of government. Once the president is elected, he remains on the post for a fixed period, and the party politics does not affect stability of his government. The president is vested with wide executive powers to take decisions, and so differences of opinion in alliance does not prevent any effective step. The country need not bear the expenses of election frequently. An intelligent person on this key post can make many reforms to lead the country to growing development. However, in Indian condition, it should also be taken into consideration that illiterate voters may not be able to choose one appropriate leader, and such mistake may lead to persistent danger to the national interest for a quite long period. While in parliamentary form, change is possible. Indian democracy is not as much developed as to run presidential form of government. Total 262 words. B. Why does the Constitution of India provide different forms of votes for the President, the ministers, the legislators, and the members of the judiciary? Discuss their significance. Important points for answer. Oath, provisions, different forms, reasons. Answer. Functions and responsibilities of the President, the ministers, the legislators, and the members of the judiciary are specific and different from each other. Our Constitution requires a person to take an oath or affirmation before entering into office or taking over the responsibility. Different authorities need to perform different functions or responsibilities, and so the forms of oath are also different accordingly. The President is the head of the state, and all the functions of the country are performed in his name. Moreover, being a part of Parliament and having ordinance-making powers, he also plays the role of the legislator. Pardoning power in the field of judiciary and supreme command of the armed forces in his hands requires him to be faithful to the Constitution. Article 60 provides a form of oath or affirmation of the President. It requires him to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and law at his best ability. Also, he is required to devote himself to the service and well-being of the people of India. On the other hand, a minister belongs to political parties. Therefore, he is required on an oath or affirmation to discharge his duties without fear or favor, affection, or ill will. The legislators make laws of national or local importance. They need to discharge this duty faithfully and on oath. Functions of the judicial members are to uphold the Constitution and law of the country. They are expected by oath to discharge these duties without any fear or favor, affection, or ill will. Total 253 words. Question 7. Answer any one of the following about 250 words. A. What is the position of the Supreme Court under the Constitution of India? How far does it play its role as the guardian of the Constitution? Important points for answer. Supreme Court, constitutional position. Powers, a guardian. Answer. The Supreme Court of India is the highest judicial body in the country. It is vested with the sole power of constitutional interpretation. In the Indian government system, it performs the function of the federal court. It is vested with the original jurisdiction over the disputes arising between 1. The Union of India and states, 2. The Union of India and states on one side and one or more states on the other side. It keeps legislature in control by declaring acts ultra vires if they violate any constitutional provisions or interfere in the field of others. Powers of judicial review is an important arm in its hand to check the legislator encroachments. Judicial activism is a concept by which the Supreme Court has started to act constructively rather than exercising mere passive and preventive control. To fulfill the constitutional obligation, it has now declared many directives as the fundamental rights and has made it mandatory for the state to protect and enforce them. It interpreted Article 19 and 21 very constructively and derived many other fundamental rights from them. In case of an attempt by the legislator to curtail the scope of the fundamental rights, the Supreme Court has taken a moderate stand and upheld the legislature's powers to amend the fundamental rights, but has not allowed it to destroy the basic structure of the Constitution. The Supreme Court of India is vested with a great responsibility to protect, interpret, and uphold the Constitution, and it has performed it very effectively. Total 259 words. B. How is the Constitution of India amended? Do you think that the procedure for amendment makes the Constitution a plaything in the hands of the center? Important points for answer. Amendment procedure, flexibility, rigidity, assessment. Answer. Article 368 of the Constitution contains power as well as procedure of amendment, which is of three types as 1. Simple majority. Both houses pass a bill by simple majority and then it is sent to the president for his assent. 2. Special majority. Both houses need to pass the bill by 2/3 majority of the members present and voting and by majority of the total members of that house. 3. Special majority plus ratification of states. After passing the bill by both houses by special majority, it is also required to amend some provisions of the Constitution that the bill must be ratified by not less than one half of the states. The bill to amend Constitution may be introduced in any house of parliament. There is no provision for joint sitting of both houses for constitutional amendment. The president after 24th amendment cannot withhold his assent, nor can he return it for reconsideration. By the 24th Amendment, 1971, the power of Parliament to amend the Constitution has been extended. The bill to amend Constitution may be introduced in any House of Parliament. There is no provision for joint sitting of both houses for constitutional amendment. The President after 24th Amendment cannot withhold his assent, nor can he return it for reconsideration. By the 24th Amendment 1971 of the Constitution, the power of Parliament to amend the Constitution has been extended. It can amend any provision of the Constitution by way of addition, variation or repeal. In the case of Keshwanand Bharti, 1973, the Supreme Court upheld validity of this amendment but introduced basic structure theory and held that Parliament cannot amend the Constitution as to destroy its basic structure. By 42nd Amendment 1976, Parliament amended Article 368 to negate judicial review of the amendment, but in Minerva Mill Limited case 1980, it was held void and power of judicial review is restored to the Supreme Court. Due to tough procedure, no provision for joint sitting, judicial review and basic structure theory, the Constitution has not become a plaything in the hands of the center. Total 288 words. Question 8. Answer any two of the following, about 150 words each. 2 into 15, 30. A. Discuss the constitutional provisions relating to the non-justiciable directives binding upon the states. Important points for answer. Directive principles, non-justiciable, implementation, DPSPs as fundamental rights. Answer. The directives laid down in the Part 4 of the Constitution are not justiciable in court of law and not binding upon the state. The state may and have made some directives binding by amendment under Article 368, provided it does not violate the basic structure of the Constitution. By 25th Amendment Act 1971, Parliament, by inserting Article 31C in Part 3, provided that laws enacted to give effect to Articles 39, Clause B and Clause C can override the fundamental rights under Article 14 and 19. The Supreme Court has upheld his amendment. The Supreme Court has uplifted some directives to the status of the fundamental rights and they are binding upon the state. These are right to free legal aid, free and compulsory education, protection of children from exploitation, abolition of child labor, equal pay for equal work, protection of ecology and environmental pollution, etc. All these directives are binding upon the state. Total 154 words. B. Describe the methods of delimiting constituencies for parliamentary elections in India. Important points for answer. Constitutional provisions, methods of delimitation, formation of commission, power to delimit. Answer. Under Article 327, the Parliament has power to make provision with respect to all matters relating to elections, including the preparations of electoral rolls, the delimitation of constituencies, etc. The Election Commission delimits the electoral constituencies in accordance with the law made by Parliament. The Indian Delimitation Commission Act 1952 makes provision for revision of the limitations of the electoral constituencies every 10 years after the census. Every electoral constituency is a single electoral constituency. The delimitation is made by the Commission, consisting of the Chief Election Commissioner as its chairman and retired judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts as members of the Commission. It includes 2 to 7 members from every state to assist in that state for delimitation. People can present their views and suggestions. After considering them, the Commission declares the limitations of the constituencies, and this is the final declaration without any appeal. Total 150 words. Note: Parliament had decided to follow the 1971 census for the matters of electoral constituencies in elections until the census of 2001 is published. But after 2001 census, it decided to continue to follow the 1971 census in this regard till 2006. C. Explain the role of the Public Accounts Committee. Important points for answer. Constitution of committee, functions of committee, method, importance. Answer. The Public Accounts Committee, PAC, is the oldest of the 3 financial committees. It consists of 22 members, of which 15 are from the Lok Sabha and 7 are from the Rajya Sabha. It has become convention that a member of opposition is appointed as its chairman since 1967. This committee examines the accounts showing the expenditure of the government from the sum granted by the Parliament. It examines whether the money appropriated was used for the purpose for which it was granted or not. If it finds out any administrative or policy misuse in the account, it will draw attention of Parliament towards it. It will also bring out any waste, corruption or inefficiency in the expenditure. It examines the audit reports of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, who assist the committee and participates in the meetings. However, its findings are ex post facto, so it can reveal only what has happened, but its investigations are taken very seriously by officials. Total 164 words. 5. Question 9. Answer the following about 20 words each. 5 into 2, 10. 1. What is the import of the 84th Amendment of the Indian Constitution? Answer. The 84th Amendment 2001 is related to the delimitation of constituencies and of parliamentary seats. It provides census of 1971 as the basis instead of 2001. 2. Under what article of the Constitution can the Union government play its role in interstate water disputes? Answer. Under Article 252, Parliament can adjudicate any dispute relating to any matter of or in any interstate river or river valley. 3. What is the role of the pro tem speaker? Answer. The role of the pro tem speaker is to preside over the Lok Sabha for the oath and election of a new speaker. He holds the seat till the speaker is elected. 4. What is meant by the lame duck session of the legislature? Answer. Lame duck session is the last session of existing body of legislature when election is to be held in a short period already announced before dissolution of parliament. 5. What is meant by the fringe areas in the sphere of local government in India? Answer. The area included in the local administration of both panchayat and district is called the fringe areas in the sphere of local government. Question 10. What is the composition of the electoral college for the election of the President of the Indian Republic? How is the value of votes cast counted? Important points for answer. Electoral college, method of election, value of votes. Answer. The President is elected by the members of an electoral college consisting of the elected members of both the houses of Parliament and the elected members of legislative assemblies of states and union territories of Delhi and Pondicherry. According to Article 55 of the Constitution, as far as practicable, there has to be uniformity in the scale of representation of the different states at the election of the President. For the purpose of securing such uniformity among the states, the number of votes to which each state is entitled is determined as follows. Every elected member of the Legislative Assembly of a state shall have as many votes as there are multiples of 1000 in the quotient obtained by dividing the population of the state by the total number of elected members of the assembly. If after taking the said multiples of 1000, the remainder is not less than 500, then the vote of each member shall be further increased by 1. Each elected member of either House of Parliament shall have such number of votes as may be obtained by dividing the total number of votes assigned to the members of the state legislation assemblies by the total number of elected members of both the House of Parliament fractions, exceeding one half being counted as one and other fractions being disregarded. The election of the president shall be held in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of the single transferable vote, and the voting shall be by secret ballot. Total 258 votes. B. Biotechnology boom may pave a golden path for India. Discuss. Important point for answer. Biotechnology concept, applications, uses in India. Answer. Biotechnology is emerging as very important field of science with massive development opportunities. It is an industrial use of life, that is microorganisms and other living cells of plants and animals to produce substances beneficial to people. This technology is used in various fields like agriculture, animal husbandry, biosensors, production, genetic engineering, genetic mapping, cloning, embryo transfer technology, medicine, food, fuel, fodder, environment, etc. In India, the main benefit that can be derived from the development of biotechnology is in the field of agriculture and animal husbandry. These areas support maximum of our population. We can have new improved varieties of seeds, drought and insect-proof species of plants, more nutritious and productive crops with minimum requirements and short duration of time can lead Indian agriculture to new heights. Animal husbandry with biotechnological application can lead to new animals with more milk and meat, more offsprings, and wool can be produced by genetic technology. Healthy animals and birds with more eggs and healthy meat can be derived. Cloning is also a possible field of biotechnology. Cloning of small animals have been made possible, and even human cloning research are in progress. Cloning gives new springs with desirable qualities and therapeutic uses. Medicines can be prepared with the use of biotechnology. For example, antibiotics and vaccines of various diseases are prepared using this technology. Embryo transfer technology and artificial insemination can be helpful in this direction. Food qualities can be improved through this technology. Biopesticides and biofertilizers, biofuel and fodders path towards prosperous future. Total 258 words. Question 11. Write on any two of the following about 125 words each. 2 into 10, 20. A. What were the main strategic concerns of the Indonesian President Megawati Sukarnoputri during her recent visit to India? Important points for answer. Details of the visit. Discussion held. Strategic importance. Answer. Recent visit of the Indonesian President Megawati Sukarnoputri in April 2002 was of great importance for both countries, not only for the bilateral relations but also in deciding strategic conditions in the Southeast Asia. She held comprehensive talks with Indian leaders on matters of energy, security and combating terrorism. They accepted a dire need to face the threat of terrorism jointly. It matters of energy agreement, both countries concerned about the possibilities of laying pipelines of natural gas from Indonesia to India through the Indian Ocean near the Andaman and Nicobar Island. India supported sovereign integrity of Indonesia and condemned militant activities near Indonesian energy centers and offered all supports to check them. As both countries occupy a strategic positions in the Indian Ocean and the Southeast Asia, the visit acquires a great importance. Total 138 words. B. What is TRIFED? What are its objectives? TRIFED. 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 Important points for answer. TRIFED details, objectives, functions. Answer. TriFed is a tribal cooperative marketing development federation. TriFed is run by central government, which aims at collecting and purchasing products of tribal people from the country and to sell in the country or to export them. To eradicate poverty in tribal areas, to provide them with economic security by aiding market facility, and to uplift their level of life are the main objectives of this institution, apart from leading the country towards food security, social development, and help in natural disasters. It helps them in times of natural disasters like drought, flood, cyclone, or others. Volunteer groups are formed from the tribal areas and they are trained for basic help in such emergency times. Thus, the institute is working for social security and economic upliftment of tribal people and areas. Total 132 words. C. How has the dwindling of barbed variety of rice affected the Siliguri Bagdogra belt with respect to man-animal conflict? Important points for answer. Rice variety, man-animal conflict, new variety. Answer. The conflict of man-animal has been reduced and now animals do get enough fodder. In the area of Siliguri Bagdogra belt, there was practiced a barbed variety of rice which were less useful as the animal fodder. So animals had to go to jungles or savannas. The barbed varieties which had earlier occupied the region had prevented the animals from their coveted fodder, rice, husk, wheat twigs, etc. But the practice of new variety of biotechnologically developed rice have proven helpful in increasing fodder production for animals. Men can now profess animal husbandry along with agriculture and can have benefits of animals in agriculture, transportation, and food production. Apart from helping man-animal relations, these new genetically modified varieties of rice have reduced burden of animals upon the jungles and grassland, making them greener again. Total 137 words. Question 12. Write notes on any two of the following, about 125 words each. 2 into 10, 20. A. What is Integrated Wastelands Development Program? Important points for answer. IWDP, main objectives, assessment. Answer. The IWDP, Integrated Wastelands Development Program, has been under implementation since 1989-90. It was a fully center-funded scheme till 1st April 2000. Now ratio between center and state fund is 92:8. It is now implemented on watershed development guidelines basis. It enhances people's participation at all stages of the program. Objectives of this program: development based on village or micro watershed plans, generate employment in rural areas, development of watersheds into grasslands for fodder purposes and then for agriculture, prevent spread of wastelands, protection of environment, soil, etc. The program covers 28 states, 297 districts with a total area under various stages of the project of 37.22 lakh hectare. This program has created many positive effects on wastelands and increased the area under grassland or agricultural land. Benefit of rural employment and income security for them is created. Total 141 words. B. Write briefly about Desert Development Program. Important points for answer. The program, objectives, assessment. Answer. The Desert Development Program was started in 1977-78. The basic object of the program is to minimize the adverse effect of drought and control desertification through rejuvenation of natural resource base of the identified desert areas. It is being implemented in both types of deserts, that is hot and cold. It covers hot desert areas of Gujarat, Rajasthan and Haryana. Under the cold desert area come Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. Its coverage has been increased to cover some districts of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. The program covers 234 blocks in 90 districts in India in 7 states. To grow trees to prevent sand spread, to prepare grass plains, to develop water resources. The scheme is fully sponsored by the Government of India. It covers a total area of about 33.56 lakh hectares. Total 135 words. C. Write briefly about the programs for welfare of the disabled. Important points for answer. The program, objectives, assessment. Answer. Program for the welfare of persons with disabilities are under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. According to an estimate, there are 5% of population in India on an average with some kind of disabilities. A scheme to promote voluntary action for persons with disabilities, provide assistance to NGOs working for the welfare of disabled. The ministry also delivers or facilitates delivery of rehabilitation services. It gives support for vocational activities by disabled, income generating occupations, etc. The Assistance to Disabled Persons ADIP is the scheme which is fully sponsored by the Center to implement organizations or agencies for welfare of disabled. Reservation for disabled in job opportunities, education, training institutes, etc. are provided. Various governmental institutes are established to work in this direction. Example, Artificial Limbs Manufacturing Corporation of India in Kanpur. Total 136 words. Question 13. Write about the following about 20 words each. 5 into 2, 10. 1. Professor B.P. Sinha. Answer. He was a historian and archaeologist who played an important role in excavation of the Vikramashila University of the ancient time. He died recently. 2. Major General S.S. Sharma. Answer. Major General S.S. Sharma, a recipient of Gallantry Award Kirti Chakra for leading the first Indian wintering expedition to Antarctica, was commissioned in the Bombay Sappers in June 1965. 3. Kondapalji Sitaramaya. Answer. He is main leader of the People's War Group of Naxalites, an organization that he established in Andhra Pradesh. He died recently on Parkinson's disease. 4. Aung San Suu Kyi. She is a prominent figure protesting against the military rule in Myanmar for the cause of democracy. She is kept in prison. V. Thalassery, Kerala. Answer. It is a town on the Malabar coast in Kerala. It is referred as the city of 3C, that is cricket, cakes and circuses. File number 3 complete.